Okay, here's the thing. Our world needs trees. People need trees, a whole bunch of trees. You hear of widespread deforestation throughout the Amazon, wildfires claiming acres of Canadian wildlands, drilling for oil in the Congo Basin rainforest. Deforestation is a serious problem around the world, and that contributes to damaged land, hunger, extinction, and yet, here we are, still losing 10 football fields worth of trees every minute. It's as if people don't realize that these are the lungs of the earth, and trees are vital for our ability to live. Okay, well, actually, some people do. Some people are really aware of this.
What's one thing I can do? You can plant a tree.
I'll see if I can drop it from above.
This hat planted 15 trees.
They plant a climate-fighting tree for every dollar that you spend.
Today, we will be planting 20 million trees.
Tree planting has gotten really popular over the past few years. And it makes sense. Trees sequester carbon, they heal the soil, and they help people and wildlife flourish. But not every approach to planting trees is equally helpful. Some approaches result in a wide variety of tree species being planted, and others just one. Some efforts are done in a top-down way, where a government or a large organization directs the initiative. Others are community-driven, and these different approaches have yielded very different results. Some of those results have gotten criticism.
Planting trees is a pretty daft answer to global warming. Let me
explain. If it happens in the wrong area, it's rather bad for the ecosystem.
Unfortunately, these campaigns are often so poorly executed that they fail catastrophically.
But hang on a second here. I know there's a better way to plant trees, and I've seen it happen all over the world.
በትርጉም ነው የተጻፈው። ስለዚህ አረንጓዴ አካባቢ ካለ ጤናማ እንሆናለን። ጤና ማለት ሁሉ ነገራችን ማለት ነው።
অনেক উপকার করে যে এইজন্য আমরা সব সময় গাছ লাগানোরও চেষ্টা করি বেশি বেশি যে ওই এলাকা যেন ভাঙন না ধরে বা পশু পাখির দিক দিয়ে আমাদের সৌন্দর্য আমরা বেঁচে থাকতে গেলে আমাদের এই যে ঐতিহ্য
Restoring ecosystems and communities through tree planting is possible. I believe tree planting is still one of the best investments we can make in our planet and our future. But it's got to be done the right way. I want to share you 5 principles I've learned from Plant with Purpose about what makes an effective reforestation effort. Let's go to Ethiopia. Okay, here we are in the area of Andabet. This is a community Plant with Purpose has worked in for about 2 years, and first of all, I am amazed by the amount of people gathered around us.
Forest! Conserving! Our ecosystem!
You've got mothers, fathers, children, elders, priests, farmers, leaders. This work is being shared by the entire community. What you don't see are a lot of outsiders, except for me and my team, and we're really just in an observer role, here to talk to people. I decided to go meet some of the tree planters.
ሰላም ፊሊፕ ባሎ
መሰግናለሁ ያው ስታውን ድረስም ይሄ ቦታ ተጋልጦ ነበር በፊት ደና የነበረው አሁን በማህል ላይ ተጋልጦ ነበር አሁን ደግሞ ወደ ደህንነት ተመልሷል ይሄን ያያየና ሁላችንም እንግዲህ ጠንከረን
ጌትነት ዳኘው ይባላልው ጎነጀር ቀበሌ ወረዳ እንዳቤት
Can you describe your tree planting activities today and maybe on a regular day too?
ይሄንን የምንተክለው ይሄ የተራቆተ ቦታ እንዲቆም ይሄው አረንጓዴ አርገናል ቤት ላይም ማንጓለ ምናምን እንደዚህ እነዚህ እንትኖች ዛፎች ሁላ ይገኛሉ በየደጃፉ
የሚጠቅም ጉዳይ ስላለ ይሄ የጠቃሚ ሆኖ የሚጠቅመን ጉዳይ ስለሆነ ተጠቀምነ ከተከበረ ዘንድ ያቸው እነዚህ ዛፎች ለምሳሌ እነዚህ ወጡ አሁን ከተከበረ ዘንድ ነው ፊት ግን መሬቲቱ ራቁቷን ነበረች
These conversations are eye-opening. Being here is eye-opening.
በሆቴል ጥሩ ነገር ያመጣል ማለት ይሄ የምንረዳደው ማለት ነው ጥሩ ነገር ያመጣል ማለት አንደኛ ከችግር ከራብ ከመናም ከችግር ምርታማ
There is a better way to plant trees, and I'm looking at it. It's being done in community. It's being done with a sense of enthusiasm. There's a vision shared among the many people here that goes beyond the number of trees in the ground. They're not trying to break records for the sake of numbers. They're doing it for their children, for each other. I don't know if I could do justice to this moment just by whittling it down into 5 takeaways, 5 pillars of the plant with purpose approach that we could all learn from. But for the sake of learning, I'm going to give it a shot. Sort of way. Planning, not planning too much, and seeing what happens. Plant the right tree in the right place. We need to ask if the trees we're planting belong in the ecosystem that we're working in. It can be easy to get excited about an accessible species or just planting a large number of trees. But without caution, this can disrupt the balance of an ecosystem. Trees can be an invasive species, or they can host an invasive species. This can quickly take over an area of land or deplete a natural resource that's vital for the health of many living things. Ultimately, this contributes negatively towards biodiversity. To think of trees as members of an entire ecosystem and a food web, instead of just standalone things. Which brings me to the next pillar of community-designed restoration. Local ownership and the role that surrounding communities play can make a big difference between a forest that ends up passed down for generations or one that's immediately harvested. A lot of times, these communities, the role they play, is treated like an afterthought, and that is a big mistake when it comes to reforestation. In some of the most critical and endangered forests in the world, like say the Amazon or the Congo Basin, the human communities play a vital role in maintaining the forest. Effective reforestation is all about thinking of the ecosystem as a whole, and humans are a part of it. When you have a community that understands the social, the spiritual, the economic, and cultural values of a forest, you end up with a whole community of caretakers of a place. Pay attention to social and economic factors. When you're trying to factor in the concerns of a local population, it's important to think of their social and economic needs. Around the world, a whole bunch of deforestation is simply driven by extreme need. In some cases, rural families are consuming a lot of trees because they have an inefficient cook stove that requires a lot of wood. In other scenarios, they might be harvesting trees to make quick cash when things get desperate. I've met a lot of people who have done these behaviors but really wish they didn't have to, that they had another means to secure their family's needs. This is why I think reforestation efforts really go hand in hand with poverty alleviation. Planting trees has been shown to effectively reduce poverty, but eliminating poverty also has the impact of lessening deforestation. Something strikes me when talking to the local participants who are planting trees.
So
would you say that as a whole, your community understands the importance of planting trees?
አስፈላጊነቱ ስለዛፍ በጣም ተራቆተ ነበረ። አሁን ወደ አረንጓዴ ነገር እየተመለሰ ስለሆነ
People are planting trees with the understanding that this will benefit their community. They have an understanding of how it will benefit their community. This means that the local community realizes its own motivation for a healthy ecosystem and takes ownership of the process. I think a lot of times people are paid to plant trees but not given the broader context. That's not the case over here. People have internalized the habit and the motivation to plant trees. Finally, it's important to not just think about trees in a compartmentalized way. What matters is the role they play in the surrounding ecosystem. When you start thinking about trees as part of an ecosystem, you start to think about all the different parts of that ecosystem that make it up. And this includes humans. Not only are humans a part of an ecosystem, they're often the most influential part. When an organization seeks to plant trees, it's much more effective to approach it through a relationship with the surrounding communities instead of just a transaction. In order to ensure effective long-term restoration, Plant with Purpose works to address the primary cause of deforestation, persistent poverty. By establishing locally led community savings groups, we create a platform for economic empowerment and environmental restoration. Members of the Plant with Purpose Global Alliance are taking this approach, community-designed restoration, into Asia, Africa, and Latin America. As a result, in communities like this, tree coverage is expanding while poverty drops. Participating families cut their poverty level in half. And because this approach isn't just about trees, but entire ecosystems, participants learn other skills like watershed management, water protection, and conservation. Families eat better, and most of all experience a sense of agency, the ability to shape what happens where they live. After spending a good amount of time in rural tree planting communities around the world, I'm convinced that tree planting can still be one of the most effective ways we have of addressing environmental, economic, and other human needs. It's important to plant them carefully though, keeping in mind who is planting them and how are they being planted. When you plant the right trees in the right places with the whole ecosystem in mind, while working with the local communities, there's a lot of good to be done by planting more trees.